Last part of this video, I'm going to show you a few ideas of lead playing and some licks that I've picked up from Guitar Gable's playing. One of my favorites comes from a tune called Walking in the Park, and this is a tune that has a really neat lead run to it that I like. He's playing in the key of B flat, so here's my first position, B flat chord, and he plays something like this at the start of his solo. And it's a quick lick. So what I'm doing, here's my B flat shape. I'm starting with my pinky or fourth finger on the 9th fret of the first string. And then I'm going to the 6th fret of the first string. And then hammering down on the 8th fret of the first string. So this is all on the first string. Pulling off back to the 1, and then coming down on the 2nd string at the 8th fret. Now I'm going back to the 6th fret of the first string. Then from the 8th to the 6th fret of the 2nd string. So the whole lick together. So I'm leading into it from the 6th to the 8th fret on the 2nd string to the 6th fret 1st string. Plays it really fast. This is kind of a cool thing, and he's, which is another very common lick that you hear in Guitar Gable's playing. So I'm just going from the 6th fret of the 1st string very common pattern down to the 9th, 8th, 6th frets on the 2nd string, then on the 8th fret of the 3rd string, and then I'm hammering on, I've got my first finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, hammering on the 7th fret, and then again from the 6th to the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then winding up on the 6th fret of the 1st string. So that whole little sequence wraps it up. Again, that same 2 notes, 6th fret, 8th fret, 2nd string. That's a really cool little lick that I picked up from Guitar Gable's playing. I use that quite a bit when I can, if the tune's got the right tempo. Another Guitar Gable idea is from a tune called This Should Go On Forever. Actually, the whole solo is loaded with some neat things that you can do out of a first position blues box. I'm going to go back to the key of A, which is where I showed you the rhythm part for the song. And the solo in the whole song, I'll play the whole solo for the song, and I'll show you some of the lead ideas that are included. And that really melodic single string run on the treble strings, that is a signature of Guitar Gable's playing. If you like Jimmy Vaughn from the Fabulous Thunderbirds and now on his own, a lot of his solos on slower songs have that Guitar Gable type of feel. And it's really cool how he does this. And that's just, one example. So let me break that solo down and show you some of the things he's doing. I think this is a good, you learn this solo, you could listen to any of Guitar Gable's stuff and figure out what he's doing. So the beginning is a very Guitar Slim-esque type thing. So I'm starting on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, hammering down on the 6th fret. And I'm going from the 5th to the 7th fret on the 2nd string, 5th fret of the first string, and then I'm sliding really from the 7th to the 9th fret on the first string. So the whole thing. Twice. Back to the 7th fret. And then the song is going into the 4 to start off the verse. The beginning of the solo, you're on the 1, and then into the 4. So the whole thing. So the chord would be a D chord at that point. So what I'm doing there, going from the 1st fret of the 5th string, 5th fret of the 1st string, I'm sorry, to the 7th fret of the 2nd string, to the 7th fret of the 3rd string, which is a D. That's my octave there. So that's a D note, which is the 4 chord. So the whole thing. Very melodic. And then as he likes to do, he's just going to stay on the 5th fret of the 1st string. Then he does something, he just drops here to the 4th fret. 4th fret of the 1st string, and then back to the 7th and 5th fret of the 2nd string. Very melodic little riff. You don't hear that too often in slow tunes. That's just a neat guitar Gable, very unique thing that he did. You can even hammer on, pull off, make it sound a little more interesting. And then another typical guitar label thing, or guitar Gable lick. I'm going to go to on the 5th fret of the 7th string, it's an E, to the 5th or the 7th fret of the 5th string to the 7th fret of the 4th string. Then to the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And as he's getting ready to head into the 5 chord, there's your 5 chord, so it's, and then he's walking down the 2nd string from the 7th, 6th, 5th frets, and then winds up on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. So it's, which is very melodic, very neat. And then he winds it up. Sounds a lot like Guitar Slim, and it's probably no coincidence. They were both in New Orleans. But anyway, so I'm walking from the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the 2nd string, back to that 5th fret of the 1st string. Then I'm sliding 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, from the 7th to the 9th, and then back up to the 5th fret on the 1st string. And then winding up on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. So that whole lick. And then to wrap it up, so I'm playing on the 5th fret of the 1st string, 7th fret of the 2nd string, 5th fret of the 2nd string, then I'm doing this. Basically just outlining first position A chord. 6th fret of the 3rd string, 7th fret of the 4th string, 4th fret of the 4th string, and then back the 7th fret, which is our A. So that whole last part, so put the whole thing together again. Guitar Gable's leads, he's just playing the melody over that chord, the one chord. So the first position blues box, as we would call it. And as far as he slides, doing that slide on the first string in the key of A from the 5th down to the 9, that's about as out of bounds as he gets on a lot of his simple tunes. Slow tunes like Irene and others, he just plays that really melodic type solo, which is something I've picked up from Guitar Gable's playing.